Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Pemko. This is their part number 165AT. This is an aluminum threshold that is used in the residential industry. When you are building pre-hung doors, this threshold can be built to be incorporated into the entire pre-hung assembly. The frame is assembled together, the hardware is attached, or at least the hinges, and then the door is hung in the frame. But you need that member down at the bottom of the opening to complete the pre-hung unit, and having a threshold incorporated at that point is very common. And what happens is they'll build these complete units. The units will be delivered to the job site. They'll take that unit and just get it in place. They'll shim it, they'll attach it, and they're done. It's a pretty quick process. And this threshold, while it's unusual, you are going to see in those applications where you've had construction done where the threshold was a part of that original pre-hung. So you don't sell a lot of these loose, and it's because they're not typically meant for a retrofit. However, if you had a very unusual sill condition, you could probably make this work really, really well. And what we'll very often see is, here's the application. We've done it a number of times. You've got an alley, and the alley has commercial steel doors on the back of this building, and one of the tenants is a restaurant. So they will swing that door open to take their deliveries, but there's a stoop where you're up 4, 6, 8 inches from the alley level. Okay, and literally the door is installed flush with that exterior wall and the sill that comes down. Something like this would be able to give you that seal really well. You could attach it down to your sill and then return off to the back side of the stoop that's there, so to speak, so that you won't have penetration in this sort of direction. So think of it as an unusual extrusion shape that you can use for its intended purpose or for others as well. Okay, let's take some basic dimensional properties, and there is an image down below that shows what it is. 3 1/8 inch is the overall width of the threshold. The height of the face, it's probably about 1 inch would be my guess. Yeah, about 1 inch. It's 5/8 back over here. Right to there. Yeah, sorry. Making this harder than it needs to be. About 5/8. You have this insert. It's called a Thermo Seal is what it is. It's a synthetic rubber. That door collapses against this. That will fold up. So it's a bump-up threshold in that regard. Give you a nice positive seal on the inside. If you were using it in that Outswing application, I would absolutely have this, depending on the application, depending on where it's installed, what type of weather you're going to have. I absolutely encourage a belt and suspenders approach, especially when you're sealing here. If your door swings out, where are you stopping the moisture? Well, it's already hit the face of the door, gotten underneath the door. In here, I would add possibly a automatic door bottom that's mortised or installed in the bottom channel of a steel door. I would certainly have a door sweep out here, so I could stop it out here. This is not my first line of defense on the inside of the opening. Okay, but nonetheless, this is probably seen in swing and outswing applications. This obviously is just a 6-inch sample piece. That's all we have here for this. Speaking of 6-inch, this is available in lots of different lengths. Everything from 2 foot to 8 foot is listed in the site, at least at this moment. By the time you're seeing this video, it could be altogether different. You can probably have any length you want up to about 16.5 feet. I think that's about the maximum extrusion length that the factory gets. So be mindful. If you need a custom length, by all means, order the next longest piece or pieces and indicate in the comment field the net length you'd like for us to ship out, and that's how we'll handle it. This will come with screws, and there is some language in the extended description about these screws. And we'll go over that right now, along with the other finishes it's available in. Let's switch to the screen view. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. Here's the item that we are looking at. Let's take a look at the additional information here. You can see the dimensions that we've gone over. We didn't talk about the 1/4 inch projection of the Thermo Sill. Actually, another question that I get from clients all the time is they want to know this dimension here, which would make a lot of sense to me. I will show you that by the end of this video, also in here as well, so you kind of know what you're dealing with. So there's some extended description information here. This says it's for outswinging doors. You know, I don't see this being used on an in-swing application, but nonetheless, how you end up using it is how you use it. You know, I could also see you basically taking this and ripping it right here if you needed a really unusual bump-up style threshold that was quite flat. You know, and we'll also try to gauge the distance from, well, actually, we could determine that, well, we really, yeah, we can measure this just so you had an idea of what it was. Anyway, so it's for outswinging doors generally. Here in southern Florida, outswinging doors are very common for code compliance. Allow 3/8 clearance, so it kind of answers the question there. So clearance is the dimension from the bottom of the door to the top of your sill. And that does not mean your threshold. So this dimension right in here needs to be not more than 5/16 would be my guess. We'll check that. Air infiltration tested, fire rated, UL Lab, Laboratory 4L10. I don't know what that actually is. Okay, so it is a reference to a UL standard apparently for UL10C, UL10C. Yeah, sure. This is going to have to be rated for a fire-rated application. For standard threshold application, it's going to come with 3 holes and a 1/2 inch long when it's less than 48 inch, and 1 inch when it's 48 inch and over. But I'm thinking they're going to add an extra hole for every foot longer than 4 foot. For pre-hung application, the part is specified according to fabrication options for threshold sills. What I think they're referring to there, it would be my guesstimate that it's probably not going to involve screws if it's for a threshold sill pre-hung type fabrication. These are likely attached mechanically by the door manufacturer. And to that end, let's click Installation Overview and Fabrication Options, and this is where that's all going to be defined, and we're going to be able to see, yeah, if we're accurate. And then indeed, that's the case. So Style 4 is where there's no preps, and you're going to install this. The pre-hanger is going to install this. Probably going to run these fasteners into the stop as indicated here. So people call me all the time and say, I don't know how to get this thing out. I don't see any screws. Well, that's where the screws are, right there. Okay. It's a pretty handy document to be able to clarify what's happening. Other fabrication options would be their ability to notch this material should you need it notched. Depending on the application, depending on how you are installing the threshold, you can tell that they've got the stop cut back and at a angle so as to mimic the 4-degree bevel that's here. So you might need some sort of notching done, depending on where your stop is located. The factory can do all of that notching work for you. It's an additional cost naturally, but nonetheless, that option is available. So let's also look at the cut sheet. This will be only the same information that we've already looked at. The underscore is either A for mill aluminum, which is the item that we're looking at here, or D for dark bronze. We'll confirm that those are the only 2 finishes. I doubt that they are. Then there's a link here to the manufacturer's page. When we click on that, we're going to be able to pull up this page where it's going to show us not only all of the Pemko products that we sell by means of this horizontal navigation, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the product catalog. And let's fire that up. We'll do a find function on our keyboard for 165. That's going to return a lot of results. But we will fight through it. Yeah, naturally it's near the end. So there's our catalog page. The important thing about this is it shows you that you can do the 165 in A or D finish and in a T, which is the Thresho Sill, or you can do it in the V for vinyl. There would be no reason for you to want vinyl unless cost was the most important aspect. Vinyl is susceptible to degradation with exposure to ultraviolet. Avoid it unless, you know, unless every penny matters. Then go with the Thresho Sill. Is the bottom line. A much higher caliber insert. Now, those other finishes, we'll click on our price list here. Let's pull up the 165AT. Let's see. They do list other finishes as predicted. They have the BSP for black suede powder coat and WSP for white suede powder coat. So they can powder coat these thresholds either black or white is the moral of that story. All right, now, also on that manufacturer's page, I should have said there'll be the prior versions of the product catalog. Any encyclopedic type documents are there as well. Let's wrap up this video on camera. Okay, let's throw around a couple of additional dimensions as well. We go from the face of that back, you can kind of gauge where everything is located. You know, about 2 1/4 to the face of the Thresho Sill. That's going to be there. The height of that, down to where that might rest. And they said you need 3/8, and as predicted, it shouldn't be more than 5/16. And that is indeed what we're looking at. So a minimum of 3/8, you know, 7/16 right in that range will be perfect for that door to come in and slide across there. Okay. It does have a slight bevel to it when I hold that flat. You know, I was talking about earlier of ripping this off. Whatever needs to be done. You know, it's just aluminum. A carbide blade is easily going to cut this material. And there's another look at those fasteners. The name Pemko is quite synonymous with all things weather stripping related. And I would suggest that you review their catalog because of the extreme diversity of products available. Any questions on the 165AT pre-hung style threshold or any other Pemko product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.